All right, welcome to Chuckcast 2, the special ESPYS edition. We are recording this late Wednesday. It's going to air Thursday. I'm with Joe Whitney. We're going to do a rundown of the ESPYS. And maybe get to some British Open, see where else we get to. But we'll start with that opening monologue by John Hamm. Joe Whitney. That was funny stuff.
Great stuff, Charles. It was entertaining to watch. I felt like it was very intelligently delivered. He did a great job. He noted that he could relate to the situation he was in hosting the ESPYS because he, as some of us may know, is in drama and clearly is a part of the show Mad Men. So there's lots of drama in sports, as we both know and love. So it was very fitting, I think, for him to be the host this evening.
I think he played high school football. I heard him talk about that previously. So he's played some sports. He knows a bit about it.
He seemed very knowledgeable.
Well, lots of jokes though coming out right away.
Well, I think that with the recent exit of LA, this was located in Los Angeles, and I think with the recent exit of Dwight Howard, I think the crowd got a good laugh in right away about Dwight leaving LA for what seemed, in his opinion, as a greater chance to win championships, but only time will tell, I suppose. And then he threw in also with the Lakers, it being in LA, kind of to start the night off with Meta World Peace, going to the New York Knickerbockers. But it was very interesting that both of them got thrown under right away to start off the evening.
Dwight, I feel like, got the worst of it. Made a couple jokes on him, even faked to the video behind him, about to play the greatest highlights, and no highlights played.
He didn't leave very kind of the mark he left in Los Angeles wasn't very prominent, you could say. So yeah, they're going to play his greatest moments as a Laker, and when they went to play the clip, there was unfortunately nothing that played. Short-lived for Dwight Howard, I suppose.
Yep. And also joked on Meta World Peace, joked on Dwight, joked on Eric Spoelstra. I liked the joke on Eric Spoelstra a lot. Called him Bruno Mars.
Definitely seemed fitting with his not only his outfit but the way that his kind of his demeanor and his personal characteristics. It seemed like a fitting play on Bruno. I'm not sure if he can sing as well, or if any in the Heat, his coaching experience with the Heat, he had any chance to test out his singing abilities, but it was definitely a humorous moment that he, I'm sure, as everyone else, got a good laugh out of.
Yeah, he spent some time on the Heat there, going right away after the various stages of male pattern baldness exhibited by the Heat's roster. And then the camera stayed on Ray Allen and LeBron for a while there, and you saw Ray Allen is rubbing his head, and LeBron is touching his two little peaks that go up the sides, and Dwayne Wade had his head in his hands, just shaking his head. It was
laughing that I think Dwayne Wade was fortunate that he had definitely the most hair next to Eric Spoelstra, probably. Mm-hmm. But he was probably thankful for that he may not have even been included in that joke. But yeah, him and he brought up Manu Ginobili was kind of humorous. Manu's, pushing 50 at least, what it seems like in the NBA, up there with Tim Duncan. So, but he's got some grooming issues with his hair, and also he made a little pun with the fact that Manu seems to be kind of wild with the ball at times and travel a lot. So yeah, there's a lot of humor to start off the show this evening.
Well, Manu's not actually 50. He's that's an exaggeration, of course, but yeah, they spent a lot of time making fun of the basketball players. I feel like with the finals right in everyone's mind, pretty famous people. It's kind of been a basketball focus lately, I feel like, and so I feel the beginning monologue reflected that. It seemed.
Yeah.
Spend more time on the Olympics than I thought in the monologue. A little bit of time on Phelps and on the other swimmer, Ryan Lochte.
Yeah, Ryan Lochte and the women's gymnastics team, which of course kind of took the nation by storm with their kind of comeback and unexpected gold medal that they obtained. It was definitely next to the NBA, the Olympics kind of took center stage to begin the show, and I think that was fitting. I think that the NBA was something that, like you said, was most recent, and let's not forget the ESPYS is an award show where these athletes and stars are awarded based off the fans' perception and the fans' voting. So it's really the fans that get to choose. And with the NBA Finals being one of the most recent things, it's kind of fitting for how the show in the evening went.
And one thing I did notice is right away he introduced the theater as the Nokia Theater instead of the Nokia Theater. It was just a little thing I noticed, not a big deal, but something I noticed. I feel like he had that one. John Hamm had the one little bump there, and then I felt he was pretty smooth as far as everything else. His delivery, I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, it was impressive. We should get the serious moments kind of out of the way to begin with. There was a mixture of emotions between kind of the comedy that the show started off, and then leading up earlier in the show with Robin Roberts, who LeBron James introduced, and later we found out that Robin Roberts, her mother was a big fan of LeBron. Her mother, who passed away a few years ago, was from Akron, Ohio, actually, and really was a fan of LeBron when he went to St. Mary's, St. Vincent, and he was still a high school athlete. So it was nice that LeBron got to introduce her. She was a cancer victim who overcame her battle with cancer and also a rare blood disease, which she fought after she overcame cancer. So it was very fitting that the Heat and LeBron James, who had just won back-to-back NBA titles, and they did the repeat, and she did the repeat with beating cancer and this blood disease. So she won the Arthur Ashe Award, and it was kind of a very special moment. I think everyone there was kind of overwhelmed with the emotion that was presented. So.
What did you think of LeBron's suit when he presented that Arthur Ashe Award to Robin Roberts?
His suit?
The red and black number.
Yeah, the outfits of all the athletes are something that I'm sure the media is very keen and aware of. I thought his outfit was moderate but classy. So I think that not too flashy, I guess you would say, but
and
very
your
classy.
thoughts on the sunglasses inside?
Sunglasses inside was also made numerous jokes by John Hamm. I thought that it was expected from our day and age with athletes and, with kind of the club atmosphere, how you wear sunglasses at night. I think there's been multiple songs that have referenced wearing sunglasses at night and sunglasses indoors. And I think it's just kind of a contemporary trend that is occurring.
All right, so let's start running through some of these awards here. What do you got for me?
Well, the first award of the night, I think, is where we should start. It was Breakthrough Athlete of the Award. I don't know about your thoughts, but the nominees were, of course, our Madison alum, Russell Wilson, who played a spectacular year, his rookie season for the Seahawks. Mike Trout, Yasiu Puig, who is a phenomenon for the Dodgers, and then Johnny Manziel and Colin Kaepernick. And I was disappointed with this, with the award winner, which it ended up being Colin Kaepernick. But I was not impressed with the fans. The fans really let me down. I wish I could have voted myself, to be honest. But, Russell Wilson was who I was rooting for.
So
I may have been a little biased with that opinion, but for some reason, I like Colin Kaepernick as an athlete, but I'm just not a fan of his.
I know you're not a fan, but I gotta think. Looking at the nominees, I think Kaepernick's the right pick there. Him and Wilson had similar seasons, but at the end of the day, Kaepernick took his team further. He torched that Green Bay team. I remember him just scampering all over the field. Overall, I think he had just a little bit better of a year. I think you could make the argument for Mike Trout based on his numbers and the type of season he had statistically in his sport was far greater than Kaepernick had in his. But at the end of the day, Colin Kaepernick's playing quarterback in the NFL, and Puig hasn't done it long enough. Manziel's got all of his recent issues, and that's college. That's not the National Football League. It's the national sport, and Kaepernick had a little bit better of a year than Wilson. I think he deserves the award. So
yeah, I can't argue with anything you said. He is a very deserving winner, but I think that his character and his overall demeanor was something where I really just couldn't get on board as a viewer with the way that he carried himself throughout the season. His numbers and his performance on the field was clearly, very accepting of the win, not only the nomination but also the winning the award. However, I questioned his character. So with Johnny Manziel, you could question his recent kind of incidents that he's had with the Peyton Manning camp, and overall his trouble, his minor fight incident. But he was the first freshman to win the Heisman, which is a phenomenal feat, and has to be taken into consideration. But I will agree with you, Colin was deserving.
Comeback Player of the Year, Adrian Peterson. Kind of a gimme, right? After what he did.
Yeah, gimme. What was interesting with me was while I was watching the show, and Adrian Peterson he's very well loved, I think, by the nation. It's a very heartwarming story with kind of his overcoming his battle and his injury. But I look on my news feed and I see all these Packer fans just hating on him. And these Packer fans, I'm one of them, but I'm also I'm a sports fan number one. So I thought that Adrian Peterson was one And he was very inspiring with not only winning the award, but when he took stage and with the words that he left all of us viewers with. So it was to me one of the best stories of the evening.
And what other awards stuck out to you?
To me, it was throughout the evening they kept bringing up what was going to be the best team. Now, the best team, they allowed people to tweet as their way to vote. So the nominees were Alabama.
So wait, they were letting them tweet throughout the night for this? I didn't understand this part of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a Twitter account myself.
Well, I have a Twitter account. I didn't. Were you actually voting for it, or was it just just a one of a vote in a pool of other votes?
Yeah. Well, it was only tweets that were counted, and the interesting thing was they brought up kind of the best team of the year right at the beginning of the show, and then throughout the show they would show the viewers which team was winning. So throughout the night it could change from the beginning of the show to the end of the show, but to be honest, I think what we discussed previously with basketball, the NBA being one of the most recent sports that just finished, kind of stuck in everyone's mind. The Heat were initially the favorites, and throughout the evening they held off as winning the best team award. But I have to say that I see these other nominees as very, very fitting and very high potential to also have won. With the Blackhawks doing what they did, with not only in the NHL finals, but the way that the Blackhawks got to the finals was very dramatic, with being down in multiple series, very similar to the Heat, I will say. But the Ravens, with the game with the Broncos in the AFC playoffs, being down with minutes by a touchdown and having Flacco kind of just will them to win.
Well, I think the problem with that Ravens team is, with football, there's such high turnover. A lot of that Ravens team isn't even with the Ravens anymore. So, I like the way that the award seems to, or has gone to, teams that have some continuity to them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Team USA had a real shot there.
Team USA, I thought, was going to pull it off. They were, I believe, came in second. And this gymnastics team that kind of took the nation by surprise and really had us on the edge of our seats. But like we said, the Olympics was a fair while ago, and it's not really in the forefront of most fans' memory. So, but it really was with Gabby Douglas. It really was a very, very impressive story. But LeBron seems to have won over a lot of fans. But what else I thought was intriguing was this best game nominees. We've all, depending on the sport that is most kind of interesting to us, we all probably thought each of these games were equally deserving, just to a certain extent. I'm not sure what your opinion is, but we have the Ravens-Broncos game, which I brought up. This Bruins-Maple Leaf Game 7 was amazing. The Bruins, I believe, were down by 3 goals and scored 4 goals in a row to win a Game 7. And then clearly we had the Ray Allen shot. I mean, where do you put the Ray Allen shot? How big a shot? That's a historic shot, in my opinion.
It's definitely going to be iconic, played for years to come, repeated. So the Heat won that as well. Continuing, I feel like with the basketball theme, that Heat team is huge. LeBron, he's the biggest star in the world, biggest athlete, I should say, in the world right now. So it's fitting that he is running off his string of awards, including, winning things like best team and best game at the ESPYS. Small trophies on his shelf, obviously, compared to the, NBA Finals MVPs and regular season MVPs, but still adds to his legacy. The best game, though, that's Ray Allen's trophy. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. They allowed Ray Allen to speak for that victory, or for that award that was won by the Heat. Spurs Game 6. They gave the award to Ray Allen. I think Spolster initially went up, and then he realized that this was Ray Allen's award, handed him the award, and allowed him, and he said some very very interesting and kind of inspirational words to people, kind of just implying the message to never give up. They're in that situation. I believe there's 28 seconds left. But also what Ray Allen did, and what kind of he's done throughout his career is he was very modest when he went up and accepted the award, and he really said that the credit should go to other people. Like, he mentioned Mike Miller hitting the shot with his shoe off. And this was probably in the third quarter or early in the fourth quarter, I believe, when Mike Miller had his shoe in his hand, threw his shoe to the bench, was running down the court, and they were swinging the ball, and the ball just ended up in Mike Miller. And the Spurs knew that Mike Miller didn't have his shoe on and intentionally did not guard him. And he hit the shot right in his face. And Ray Allen brought this up, and I thought it was something where you could really look at Ray Allen's character in the moment, and which is why, I think he's a very well-liked NBA and athletes superstar.
I'm going to run through some of the awards quickly. I want you to quickly tell me. I think they did a good job of getting them right. I want you to tell me if there's any you disagree with. We did best breakthrough athlete. Let's do best upset. Florida Gulf Coast. First number 15 seed to advance to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Sounds like they got that one right. You got a disagreement there?
I am 100% agreement. I remember watching the game that they defeated Georgetown. Not only was it a number 15 seed that upset a number 2 seed, but the number 15 seed also happened to win the next game as well. And it was just a story, that had never been done before. So I thought the upset was more than fitting.
Going back to, you can't even disagree with this one, the best moment, the Jack Hoffman, the 7-year-old Nebraska Cornhuskers fan, battling a brain cancer. During the Nebraska team spring game, they allow him to run the fourth quarter touchdown. No competition to that one, obviously.
Whatsoever. I mean, the 7-year-old going up and having him have the opportunity to go up with his father and accept the award for best moment of the year. I think it was a life changer in his life, and it's a moment where all the other superstars, could really look at that 7-year-old and it could really inspire them to be better individuals. Because like this is a award show, but also this is a moment in time where all these athletes can be grateful for the ability that they were given. And this, was just a story that stuck out in everyone's mind as something that needed to be cherished. So yeah, Jack Hoffman went up. He was very vocal when he got the mic, and it was very amazing to watch.
Best coach manager Rick Pitino led Louisville to the basketball title this year. First coach to do it for two different schools. Do you agree with that one?
I think that the feat that he accomplished, winning the national championship at two different schools, I believe it's never been done before. So it's another one of those kind of record-setting experiences that really should have been rewarded. And I think that's why he had the upper hand with his other nominees. But like every winner this evening would say, all the other nominees, were just as likely to win, and really the athletes wanted to share the awards with the other nominees. And it was, no one walked up there and will really try to just thank themselves. There was really a great thing to watch with how the players and the athletes handled having won the award.
What do you think about your boy, Tiger Woods, winning Best Male Golfer without winning a major?
What's amazing is the award shows, ESPYs, were broadcasted on ESPN, of course. And this is, I believe, certain awards they left off national TV, or they awarded it to the individual. I think that you have to give Tiger this award, but it did not surprise me that they left this award. They did not mention it at all during broadcasting.
Yeah, there were a few awards that don't make it to broadcast. Do they do those before or after?
Some of them they do before. I know they gave Johnny Manziel his best college athlete award prior to the award show. So they have all these athletes come in, and it's a red carpet affair. So they're slowly coming in. I know they did a countdown to LeBron James coming in, and he actually won an award prior and then ended up winning two during the show. So it's kind of just throughout. There's actually one person, and I think this is worth discussing, but best female athlete, there was only one person throughout the broadcast on ESPN that won an award without being there, and that was Serena Williams. She won best female athlete. Gabby Douglas, Missy Franklin, and Brittany Griner were her competition. And all three of those individuals were there, but Serena was the only one not there, and she won the award. Now, for some reason, I just don't think that's right. I mean, I don't know if you'll agree or disagree, but
I kind of liked Griner for that one. I felt like that was Griner's, to be honest. But that's my bias, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think that Brittany Griner is more deserving with the year that I think if she would have ended up winning,
you gotta win championships.
You gotta win the championships, and they got upset by the 5th seed Louisville, and it was not a very good game for her. And I think her fans and the nation watching that, and let's keep in mind that the women's NCAA tournament isn't exactly the most watched event in the world. So I think that was partially her downfall. But let's keep in mind she had a great career. She broke the all-time scoring record for women's basketball. She is, I believe, the only women's basketball player to ever dunk multiple times in a game.
Well, that's why I thought she deserved it. breaking barriers. But hey, Serena actually wins, and that's always important. That is always important. And
well, I was going to take your input and ask you what you thought of this Jay-Z impersonation.
I loved the Jay-Z impersonation. I am a huge fan of Jay Pharoah. I watch SNL when I can on Hulu. I don't watch it on Saturday nights, but I think he sounds like a pretty good Jay-Z, to be honest with you, when he is talking normal. But I think he stretches it a little bit. It is an impersonation. I think he does a pretty good job overall. I thought it was funny. I thought it was good.
It was, and what's funny is they showed the crowd's reaction throughout his performance, we should call it, I guess. And initially, I think the crowd was somewhat perplexed, and they really didn't know. Like I said, I think that there was a lot more comedy introduced in this year's ESPYs throughout the show, so I think they tried to balance that with kind of the emotional, gripping, and serious awards and stories that were covered. They kind of balanced it out with this comedy. So I think that the impersonation went well. I think people were a little bit confused at first, but then you see the crowd really started to get into his act, and he did, in my opinion, a tremendous impersonation of Jay-Z. I thought he was going to start rapping some old school, Jay-Z raps.
Well, maybe people actually thought the real Jay-Z was coming out, trying to sell him a Samsung.
I was initially thinking that it was going to be the real Jay-Z myself, but I was pleasantly surprised.
They alluded to the fact that Jay-Z is signing up athletes in every sport. Durant in basketball, Victor Cruz in football, Robinson Cano in baseball. I liked the jokes. He's not signing anyone in the cold. That's for sure.
They said his skin just isn't, it's not very conducive for his skin health. So, yeah, he's not,
correct.
He's not going to be signing any skiers. Any winter, we got the Winter Olympics coming up here, and Vladimir Putin made a guest appearance also during the show, and had multiple trophies that he, I guess, stole, along with Robert Kraft's Super Bowl ring. But yeah, Jay-Z is a kind of a trend-setting businessman. He's going into industries that...
Well, he's all over the place. You can't turn on your TV or your radio out without seeing Jay-Z somewhere. He's infiltrated the sports world. He's in music. He's touring with Justin Timberlake, so he's in the suit and tie crowd that listens to Justin Timberlake. He has turned himself into a media mogul. He's everywhere.
And let's be honest, Charles, if you're a famous athlete, are you going to want a representative agent, or an agent representing you, I guess, who is trying to make money off of you, or the contracts you would sign, or someone who is already very wealthy, who doesn't?
Well, let's not get it twisted. Jay-Z will be taking a pretty standard amount, a pretty standard cut, I'm sure. Jay-Z is not in this game to do it for free. But from my understanding of it, he is he's not just completely on his own. He's got experienced people who will actually do the contract negotiations and that are aware of the intricacies of the salary caps in all the different sports, and those without, such as baseball, but his major benefit is getting them into Samsung Galaxy commercials or whatever he's pitching next, and getting them into whatever he's a part of and everybody he knows, getting them that type of money. So I think it's going to be interesting, so that leads to appearances by comedians impersonating you at the ESPYS, because you're everywhere. I thought it was a very interesting note that was made. One of the first jokes that, I'm Jay-Z with 17 records and tours and everything else, and I have tons of time to worry about your career, talking about the athlete. That is a good point. That goes back to, though, I think, him having an experienced team, people who have done it before, and he's there, but there's also other people there with him. I'm sure he's doing a great deal and will benefit these people, and hopefully he does benefit them.
Well, you hit the point right on the head. He has a firm, actually, that is set up, so it's very much like a law firm or any type of firm. It's an organization of very experienced individuals who, in their own industries and fields, are experts. And he has come out with basically, this administration of sports management individuals who can kind of guide him, but he is basically the face of it, and he's going to set the standards that need to be reached and set these expectations. And he's said numerous times that what he wants to actually do is benefit these athletes, these superstars, in a way that a normal sports agent couldn't benefit them. He's quoted here. I have a quote that said, "For the most part, I'm going to do more for the athlete than they're going to do for me." And that's, he says, by the end of the day, I'll do whatever it takes to get it done. And this is, I think, true. This is kind of a trade that Jay-Z's known for, is just going above and beyond the bar on what is presently set, and kind of doing things better, or kind of in an innovative way that people may be unaccustomed to, but ultimately is going to be very beneficial for the people involved with him.
Yeah,
so I think it's a lot to watch.
You have no disagreements from me, Joe. We've gotten a little bit away from the ESPYs. Anything else you want to comment on there? You want to move to a quick preview of the 142nd British Open?
Well, yes. I mean, we are on the brink of the British Open. I will just say with the ESPYs that I think that ESPN did a great job with all the way from choosing their host to just presenting these athletes and these sports stories in a way that was very inspiring with the viewers watching. So it's something from normal people sitting on their couches at home watching this to the athletes who were there present. I think that it was an experience that should not be taken for granted by any means. So it was just an overall great. I give it a one of the best things, in my opinion, that was on TV this evening, and probably for a long time. So if any of the viewers listening missed it, go on YouTube, see some of the clips. Definitely look at Robin Roberts. She, I'm sure we've all seen her. She started out on SportsCenter as the first.
Hopefully they will replay her speech. That speech was excellent. It was. I have a tweet here from Venus Williams, actually. I loved Robin Roberts' speech, so eloquent and heartfelt. I was hanging on to every word. Best moment of the ESPY. Do you disagree with Venus Williams, Joe? Best moment of the ESPY?
That's definitely the best moment of the ESPYs. I think.
Well, she says here, the ESPY. And no S, but I think that's because of the hashtag, but not a big problem.
Well, that's probably, Venus was probably upset that Serena won the Best Female Athlete of the Year award, and was probably in somewhat of a fury while she was tweeting.
A competitive fury, huh? Sibling rivalry?
Yeah, there's these Williams sisters. You never really know. You can't really ever take them for what you see at first sight, at first opinion. And then I believe me and you were discussing the story, this father-son duo who have been running marathons and triathlons for 30 years. And this is a young child who was born with cerebral palsy and was told that, from birth he was going to have to be put in a mental institution. And this is something that this father-son duo overcame, the prejudice and barriers of society that were set. And, it was another story that kind of had everyone at the edge of their seats, just wanting more and wanting to do more with their own lives from hearing it. So those two stories were definitely the peak of the evening, in my opinion.
Excellent. We'll really quickly get your thought on the British Open, and then we'll let you go here. 142nd British Open at Muirfield in Scotland. Who do you like? Who's the favorite?
Well, the Vegas favorite, of course, is Tiger Woods, y'all.
Well, people love to bet Tiger, so I'm sure they're...
If you got $100 and you don't watch golf and you want to win some money, who else really is there to bet on? So he's 4-1 favorite.
Well, you'll at least know if he's playing. He'll be on TV.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, he has coming off an elbow injury, which at the U.S. Open, it kind of was a lingering thing with him, and he hasn't played in an event since. So there's a lot of question to his health. But then there's also this question to this girlfriend, Lindsey Vonn, who followed him around for a few of his practice rounds. I think this is kind of a new Tiger Woods that we're seeing as kind of fans. We're not used to this not so serious Tiger. He's laughing and joking with his new girlfriend out in public. Just the days leading up to a major, when previously he wouldn't even talk to his playing partners or barely his caddy, his ex-caddy Steve Williams. Prior to these events, he would kind of get in his zone. So maybe this will be in his benefit. As a fan, it's kind of just interesting to watch.
Well, we both like Tiger. He's trying to overcome an elbow injury. He's the favorite. Always a lot of pressure on him to win. Once he gets that, he needs to get another major to really start any kind of discussion of catching Jack Nicholson. So this is a big one. Does he have a shot here this week?
In my opinion, he has a shot always. He has previously won the British Open 3 other times, 2 at St. Andrews and 1 at Royal St. Witham. And he has won, and this course, Muirfield, is a links-style golf. And it's kind of the type of golf course that he's thrived on previously. This will be his 17th major since he's won. The 2008 U.S. Open was his last. So yeah, in my opinion, he's won 4 times this year. So he's had a great season, which is probably why he won an ESPY. Some people would consider golfers not athletes, but I think, we all know Tiger Woods definitely looks like an athlete and has kind of evolved and revolutionized the game of golf. So, if it's not him, we got other contenders. We got Justin Rose coming off the U.S. Open victory. Adam Scott, the South African, coming off the Masters win. Both are 33, coming off their first major victory. We got Ernie Els, who's the defending British Open champion and who's also won at Muirfield in 2002. So he's clearly a favorite. And then we got lefty. We got Phil Mickelson, who was seen in his practice rounds hitting shots backwards. He'll take out his 64-degree wedge, and with the wind blowing and some lies, he'll be facing the opposite direction, and he'll hit it straight up in the air, and the wind will blow it backward. And people were just in awe of this ability. Multiple other individuals tried this, and no one else could even come close to achieving it.
You mean other golfers tried it?
Other golfers tried it that were with him. Yeah, when they go out, they kind of choose, I think, people they're comfortable with to go around and play practice rounds with. They're usually friends or people they're accustomed with and comfortable with playing. So Lefty was out with a few people, and other people were trying this, and this was kind of unattainable by anyone else. So, and he did win the Scottish Open last week. It was on a very similar type of golf course. So, if we're looking, if we're looking at the main competitors, I would put my money on those five. In my opinion, there is one other issue here at the British Open, and I'd love to get your quick opinion on this before we close up for the evening. And that is a gender issue. So the Club Muirfield in Scotland is a golf course, one of three golf courses currently that the British Open is capable. The venues that are capable of using, there's a total of 9 that rotate, and 3 of these venues currently do not allow women to be members. So this is definitely a very hot topic in the media. I think we could kind of relate it to the Masters as an American major that is infamously known as not allowing African Americans to be members. Actually, when Tiger Woods won his first Masters in 1997, they still did not allow African Americans as members. So it's kind of the evolution of the game. As you stated before, this is 142nd British Open, so there's a lot of history involved.
But the Masters allows African American members at this point.
They do now, yes.
And they also allow women as well, correct?
Correct, yes.
Here is my quick thought on the gender issue. Do I think that women ought to be allowed to play golf at this golf course? I do. I don't think there's anything that should preclude them from doing it. Do I think that people should be able to make their own rules? Yes. They're probably losing some money, maybe, from female golfers who would want to be members of the club. I don't know how many men golfers would leave just because there's a few women on the course. I personally enjoy having the fairer gender around me during my social time and hours. But I can see the benefit to potentially having some male bonding time. There's nothing that says that just because females are allowed at the course that they have to be allowed as part of your threesome or foursome. But in my opinion, a threesome or foursome is always better when there's hopefully a few women involved. So with that being said, I think that to each their own. I think people should make their own choices. I would likely choose to be a member at a course that allowed women. I don't condone their choice, but I respect their right to make it. So.
Well, first of all, you make a lot of convincing points. Ultimately, you made one, to me, point that came up in the media this week in Muirfield in Scotland, and that is that these courses can make. They're clearly private courses. They can make their own rules. But the fact of the matter is when the British Open chooses to go to these courses, they're basically accepting the rules of these clubs. And the fact of the matter is it's fine that these clubs exist. You know, these golfers can go out, make their own clubs, make their own rules, men only, women only. But when we start to put, you know, these highly watched events by the public at these venues, then that's where it kind of becomes an issue. We're kind of accepting it that these clubs' rules are okay, and to me, it's just something that should be unacceptable. We should do everything we can to condone this, to ultimately not condone this type of treatment. But yeah, it's a great issue. I think that if anyone's watching the British Open this week in the next 4 days, it'll come up. And the media has been loving this issue, and kind of it's the evolutionary process begins with the media asking these questions. And kind of that's the way that the social world works nowadays. So a lot of good things to watch. If you're going to put money down on Vegas, I think we're both in agreement. Put your money on Tiger.
I like me some Tiger. I really like me some Tiger. I also like Ernie Els, though, as well, but that's just me. Anything else you want to talk about? I don't want to...
Were we going to talk about baseball? I mean,
baseball is depressing.
We got Mariano Rivera, who just won the All-Star game. MVP.
That is the one bright hope for me right now is the Mariano Rivera retirement tour. You know, as I was born in New York and developed a great fandom of the Yankees throughout my years and connections with my family still back east. It's depressing being in fourth place. We're still above 500. You know, we're 7 games above 500. We're in fourth place, though, at the end of the day, in the East. The East is a great division. We got a chance at the wild card. We still have a shot at the division. It's early. You know I don't really care about baseball.
You got no A-Rod. You got no Derek Jeter.
This is true.
You got A-Rod playing on a AAA team.
Our only hope is everyone comes back from injury at some point. We sneak into the playoffs, and we catch fire under the whole win one for Mariano mentality, just as the Ravens did with Ray Lewis. So that's my hope right now. It's my only hope, because whenever I look at the standings, I become depressed. Hey, at least it's not as bad as the Brewers. 19.5 back. Yikes.
19.5 back with potentially, at some point, Ryan Braun, along with who we were discussing, Alex Rodriguez, will most likely be suspended at some point.
I hear those are. I think Major League Baseball said those aren't going to happen this year. That those suspensions would happen next year. So at least they'll have them for this year. That once they are back from the injuries and healed up. But you know, Brewers are a lost cause. I love going to the games, though. They are a party. Living here in Milwaukee is nice going to the games. It's a blast. Huge fan. But the product on the field leaves a lot to be desired. So, one quick shout out coming up. We're going to keep talking about this as it gets closer to it. August 31st in Milwaukee, UFC 164. My cousin's good friend Al Aquinta jumping in to step in for an injured fighter. Going to be fighting the son of Randy Couture, UFC and MMA legend. So that's gonna be interesting to watch. We're gonna have a huge crew out for that one, and we'll lead up to it. Hopefully, maybe be able to get an interview with Al and see what his thoughts are, either pre or post fight. So look forward to that, and that's gonna do it. Joe, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to be on Chuckcast.
Talk to you soon.